Ang nangyari po sa amin nung first week, medyo lugmok po kami. Ngayon po nakabawi kami. Tingin ko po yung naging dahilan kung bakit kami nakabawi. Siguro kasi yung mga mali po namin, inaaral po talaga namin na mabuti. Tapos tuwing yung mga risk po na BR goals dati, medyo inilinis po namin sa practice. Tapos, as a team po, nagbaband po kami sa isa't isa. Kaya po siguro po, nabawi po namin yung una naming talo. Hindi po porkit nag 2-0 kami, mawawala na po kami sa focus. Pagpapatuloy pa rin po namin yung mga ginagawa namin, pag-iigihin pa po namin para sa pagsabak namin sa next naming kalaban, TME, na defending champion. Magpa-practice po kami maigi at sa mga sa mga sumusuporta sa BRE Esports, pagpatuloy niyo lang po yung pagsuporta kahit marami po kaming talo. Papanituloyin po namin yung ganitong condition po namin. Maraming salamat po.
Magandang hapon mga summoners, ako po si Vulcan, kasama ko si Chisto. Ito po ang 2018 Backes Pro Gaming Series Spring Split. Yan ang gusto ko sa BRE. Yung interview kay Uptom, sobrang siyang humble. Tapos, I can feel that BRE, they're very happy with like, as I am for them. That they've been changing, they've been winning their games, and bouncing back from a really bad start in the PGS.
Alam mo, gusto ko yung point na sinabi mo na humble nga siya, na yung tipong kahit madami siya nagtalo, nagagawa pa rin yung tawanan yung fact na yun. And I think he's just happy na nakakapag-compete sila, and they have been improving throughout the weeks. And di ba, naka 2-0 sila the previous week, and unfortunately, during the first game today, natalo sila ng defending champion sa Team Manila Eagles. Tignan natin ano kayang pwedeng gawin ng BRE Esports to bounce back in the second match, because feeling ko in the first game, they weren't playing to their strengths. And I think one of their main strengths is Lando in the top lane. I think they should put Lando in a champion that can be more split push oriented and more 1v1 oriented. Talagang feeling ko kayang tapatan ni Lando si JLC 1v1 skill wise. Unfortunately, in game 1, that wasn't the case because JLC's Snar just absolutely went berserk.
So, I would have to say yes, I do agree that I feel like si Lando, put him in a duelist champion or split pusher, kaya niya kay JLC. Pero ito po yung standings sa match 1 game 1. Ito ng game 2. Team Manila Eagles sitting at 1 point. BRE Esports are sitting at nothing. This is going to be match point. Let's see. Can BRE bounce back? Because from the start pa lang sa PGS, nakita natin yung BRE. Medyo sobrang difficult yung situation nila kasi from the first week, they used Liar. Now, they subbed in Ardai, which was their ADC during the climb throughout the Piltover's finest. And I feel like si Shana, medyo siya komportable kay Ardai, and it's showing results.
Yeah, and tama nga yung results na pinakbo. The moment that BRE Esports brought in Ardai as their AD carry, they've looked way more comfortable on Summoner's Rift. They've looked better in general, but for this next match, they really need to adjust a lot, considering that in that previous game, they weren't able to hold down the primary carries of TME that were JLC and Marky.
Pero para kay Team Manila Eagles, yung TME, they were also improving despite the rough start. We're seeing these two teams. Same situation in a way that medyo bad yung start, pero sa middle part going to the PGS now to the 6th week, I feel like for TME, they are playing now like they're a bit woken up that yes, we are the defending champions, we have our pride, and we have something to protect.
Yeah, and I think for us casters, we've been mentioning a lot where throughout the beginning of the PGS, TME weren't looking as dominant as their championship season. But gaya na sinabi mo, we're already into week 6, mukhang nakapag-warm up na sila, and ito na yung point kung saan nagigising na talaga sila, and with that championship mentality are going to build momentum headed into the playoff stage. But now, pick and ban muna tayo, Vulcan.
And now, let's get straight to it. This is Match 1 Game 1. BRE Esports on the blue side versus Team Manila Eagles on the red side. Yes, it's Game 2 right now. So, going back here, you know what I love about TME? They're putting in Yom in the mid lane.
You know what I love about BRE Esports?
Finally putting Lando on his Camille.
Yeah.
Remember that Camille yung tipong Camille na lekta sa Nexus?
Yeah, I mean, that was one of their best games ever. I think that was just Lando being extremely decisive. Pero, Vulcan, bago natin i-assume na top lane tong Camille, because we'd be very happy to see Lando on a carry, right? Camille has also been played jungle, and since unang pick pa lang to ng BRE, i-assume muna natin na flex pick siya until we see more. But it looks like the response from Team Manila Eagles will be the Galio once more for Yum. He looked very good on that champion. Nung debut game niya, the previous game, I think he was able to fulfill his role on Galio to the T. Na talagang, what does Galio do? He does wave here in the mid lane. He responds to the side lanes, protects his carries, provides crowd control. I think nagawa niya yung role niya dun. But, sa Juwani as well, for Coops, worked out well in your first game, will probably work out for the second game. Now the response from BRE, they've picked up the Gnar here. And that means it will signal that the Camille is not going on to Lando. It will be played by XDXB in the jungle.
Pwede pa rin yung Gnar sa top in a way that I think for Lando, he can still use this Gnar because of the recent buffs towards this champion in a way that the ultimate deals more damage for the Gnar, and I think it suits Lando because he wants to split push. And onto TME's side, picking a Maokai straight into a Gnar. What is this?
This is very risky for TME. This is not a great matchup for the Maokai specifically because Lando will just be able to bully him in lane. But when it comes to the team fights, which I think is what TME is relying on, the Maokai will be way, way, way more reliable than the Gnar. So let's just see kung magagaya ba ni Lando yung dominance si JLC in that first game on this Gnar pick, because that was really one of the key things for BRE. But now looking at what rounded out the drafts, both teams will finalize their comps with their bot lanes. Another Janna, so a lot of similarities from the game 1 comp that TME had.
When it comes to, yes, team fight composition, you did mention that, yes, Yom did really well in this Galio. We're going to be seeing again in game 2. Here are the player cards. So, Gisto, this is actually Yom's first appearance in the PGS, right? In week 6.
Yeah, it's his first appearance. It's now his second game. So maybe he'll stay undefeated for now. Pero yeah, in the first game, Vulcan, me and Arctic kept making the point where the way that TME picked their champions, it was relying heavily on Marky carrying the game. JLC actually built damage on the Gnar. So this is now full on relying on Marky because there's no way JLC is building damage on Maokai. It's up to Marky this game to act as the primary carry of TME. They know they can pull this lineup where it's protect the AD carry, let Marky farm. Ngayon, can BRE shut that down?
Yan ang gusto ko kay TME. JLC is not afraid to pick a Maokai into a Gnar despite the challenges it faces in the top lane. This is a display of, let's say, their composition, but for BRE, I am actually rooting for BRE in a sense that we saw a lot of improvement, but I'm also rooting for Team Manila Eagles because they're the defending champions. So whoever you guys are rooting for, let us know on the YouTube chat or the Facebook chat. Hashtag BRE win or hashtag TME win.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure maraming TME fans out there. Pero in the YouTube chat, marami din tayo nakikitang hashtag Lando Army dyan na fans ng BRE. But let's head on to the Rift.
This is going to be match 1, game 2. Varsity X-Search Esports versus Team Manila Eagles.
Okay, tara na sa Summoner's Rift for Game 2 of Match 1. It is BRE on the blue side, laban sa TME on the red side.
So let's get straight to it, and I want to see what can BRE adapt from Game 1 because it was more of a back and forth game in a way that they were relying on their strengths and their compositions. But right now, TME looks pretty solid when it comes to protect the ADC.
Yeah, and binanggit mo, Vulcan, ano yung ma-adapt ng BRE? Pick and ban pa lang nakita na natin yung adjustments na ginawa nila. Now, Lando is on a more split push heavy champion. A carry champion that he can really bully on. And given this matchup right now, I really want to see how Lando plays this because he knows he has a winning matchup. He's one of the primary strengths of Varsity X-Search Esports. Now, the question is, can they play around this strength that they have?
We'll just see it once we start this laning phase, but what I want to look out for is this top lane matchup because a Maokai picked into a Gnar. You don't really see that.
We see it for some teams. I think, if I recall correctly, Naga does it.
It was actually Maokai being picked against. It was the Gnar picked against the Gnar. The Maokai.
Okay, but yeah, like you mentioned, in this matchup, it's gonna be very difficult for the Maokai to actually deal pressure to the Gnar. Pero going back to what I said in pick and ban, the way this matchup works is the Maokai will always be more reliable once a 5v5 starts compared to the Gnar, because when you're playing Gnar, you have to keep in mind the Gnar bar, the rage, his positioning, whereas on Maokai, you just need to pick a target and lock him down.
Well, that matters for Lando because diba, he likes split pushing and that's his playstyle, and it worked for BRE. What I really recall from Lando is that his Camille, who just ended the game going straight towards the Nexus.
Yeah, and that's really how the that's how both teams decide to play around really comes into play here, because if TME don't find a way to stop the split push from Gnar, it's gonna be very difficult for them, because looking at all of the lanes here, majority of the lanes are actually pushing lanes in favor of BRE, so that gives XDXP free reign to invade the jungle if he chooses to do so.
Will he go for it? Because that is actually a Sejuani in a way. Let's see, because looking at the map itself, maybe Coops may visit the mid lane because he's being heavily pushed in. Yom is being pushed in really bad by this Corki.
Yeah, but if he does choose to go mid lane, Jaime is running the cleanse and flash. Valkyrie as well, so it's very difficult to lock down the Corki this early into the game. But let's go ahead and talk about the Camille jungler. Very popular pick in other regions. Has been rising in popularity here in the PGS. But yeah, I think Camille as a jungler, probably one of the strongest dueling junglers when you come 1v1 level 3 pa lang. I think she's very, very strong in that aspect. And having pushing lanes, BRE, it just allows XDXP to get that invade in. We'll just have to wait and see. Does he choose to go for an invade?
Because we do know that Camille has the passive, the adaptive shield.
He is spotted though.
Oh, he is spotted by a warp, but he will try and go for the invade. Looks like Coops and XDXP might kiss each other in the jungle, but they'll just pass by each other.
Yeah, and you see there Vulcan, that's a very smart invade by XDXP, showing his knowledge as a jungler, because
actually, he's still lingering around in the minimap. We can see that XDXP and Coops, they're still having a standoff. We're seeing pinks happening in the side of the red jungle of Team Manila Eagles. But in the bot lane, there's going to be Shanna re-engaging with this Alistar for the stun. And the heal has been popped. Will this be a first blood? And yes, it is. It goes to Shanna.
yeah, I like that from BRE. Instead of going for the Jinx, they go for the Janna, but the Janna can only protect herself for so long, and with the Ignite, chooses the aggressive move. And Ardai even flashing to place the trap, a zoning trap. Unfortunately, it didn't chain CC, but still, that's first blood to BRE's bot lane. They now have 3 winning lanes, Vulcan, and like I mentioned, having 3 pushing lanes means that your jungler can just constantly invade the enemy jungle. And that's one aspect of the game where Camille really shines.
And for this Camille, let's see, can BRE intervene the lanes or boost the fact that the lanes are actually winning in BRE's favor? But for TME, they're just going to hold on, wait for the level 6, and respect that Galio ultimate coming in.
You know, actually, Vulcan, looking at what TME has drafted here, I think they've banked solely on surviving lane and then wishing that once the 5v5 starts, Marky can carry. Because it's 3 losing lanes. It's a very difficult position to play from, because if you begin the game where you don't have an advantage anywhere, you'll just be forced to play reactively to what BRE wants to do. And right now, it looks like BRE are the ones dictating the way the game is going.
Despite the fact that, yes, BRE, they're pushing the lanes heavily, making more room for XDXP, but it's the fact that the CS difference are not really showing that much. We still see that for TME's side, they can still bounce back. And it's the fact that, yes, the composition relies on teamfights. They can do this. They have the Maokai and the Galio. And knowing this, and we know Marky as an ADC, that gets blocked in. Yom cannot escape, but he will make it out alive thanks to the damage reduction.
Yeah, I mean, Galio's a very tanky champion, Vulcan. This stage of the game, Corki only has his Sheen, not enough damage yet. Will get some nice pressure down in the mid lane though. That is still a very, it's a very good gank by XDXP. We're just letting the Galio know na, okay, nandito pa ako. I'm not just slowly farming away. So you need to respect my presence.
And I love how XDXP was standing in front of Yom to deny the escape, so Yom has to respect that, you know, since the lanes are being pushed in the top to bot, it's very easy for XDXP to roam around freely because we see a lot of openings for him. And an engaged roam, Lando lowers him to the wall, the stun connects, and another stun piles onto JLC. Low on health, but I don't think Lando, yes, he will not re-engage, will just back off.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably too early to go for a dive because if he dove there and JLC was probably going to be able to outplay that, it would have been very risky because pag nakakuha na ng items tong Maokai na to survive the poke that and the bullying potential that Lando deals, if he's able to get something like a Glacial Shroud here, more cooldown reduction, more armor.
He's going for the Frozen Heart Rush, I would say, because that can build to the Warden's Mail. Then you may go for the Frozen Heart, 20% cooldown reduction, and the aura to reduce the attack speed onto the Nor. I think that's what GLC is looking for. And as you said, yeah, team fight. That's what GLC wants. He wants to get items that contributes to a team fight.
Yeah, actually, speaking of items that can contribute to a team fight, maybe the double cloth armors here would transition into a Bramble Vest, and then the Glacial Shroud becomes a Righteous Glory. That's a way more team fight oriented build, and the Bramble Vest will help him in this 1v1 matchup, have more survivability. But yeah, going back, aabutin yung point sa lane na JLC has enough armor, and Lando won't be able to bully him as much. But of course, Lando will be building into something like a Frozen Mallet, a Black Cleaver as well.
I think at this point, Lando can prioritize the Black Cleaver because look at the amount of armor JLC is stacking.
Yeah, he's definitely going to need a Black Cleaver in this matchup. But speaking of Nar builds, we're able to catch what JLC bought in the previous game on Nar. He's able to buy Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer. So much luxury. Pero Vlad yung katapat niya. Now it's a Maokai. You need to adapt your build. Hindi pwede yung palagi ka na lang magsistick to one build. You really need to adapt as the game goes on.
And when you're losing a lane, you really have to quickly adapt. And that's what can make or break your lane. And we are seeing this right now. Those are pro players, so they know and respect the damage. And you did see Shanna really itching for an engage. Kaso, that's a Janna, so it's really going to be difficult.
Yeah, I think we both know Vulcan. And for everyone watching out there, how frustrating it is to go for an engage versus a Janna, and a good Janna at that. I mean,
Hextech Flash was channeling, but I don't think they can still try and make things work there. We're seeing...
Yeah, going back, it was a Janna Vulcan. Yeah. Howling Gale, shielding, the Monsoon. So many knockbacks, it just stops you in your tracks, and it can get incredibly frustrating and tilting for players. Now, moving on, still very slow into the game. So far, it's only that first blood, and that was very early. That was a very squishy Janna. Now, I think they already respect that BRE can't go for the all-in, so they're playing a bit more passively. But speaking of passive, walang passive si top lane.
Wala yan, kasi that's actually a Gnar leaping away. He will not get binded down, so he, at least for TME, they're trying to push back the lanes, fight back. They don't want to be the ones to always be pushed in. And for BRE, they're having a very, let's say, yes, a first blood. But with that lead, that's gonna quickly go away because we're seeing right now, yes, for BRE, they're winning the lanes in terms of push, but in terms of CS, just a bit. What I want to wait out for is that when the team fights happen, Chisto, I think for everyone watching, when the team fights happen, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and I think BRE right now are just picking on the new guy in the PGS. Talagang pinipilit nilang asarin.
But it's not having the jitters. He's gonna stand firm and say, I can take it on.
When you're playing Galio Vulcan, he's a very simple and straightforward champ. You're very tanky. You're not really in any threat because tignan mo yung nag-engage. It was just the Camille and the Alistar. Siguro kung nandun si Jaime, he would have been forced to flash. Pero, yeah, like you said, all Galio has to do is clear the mid lane and respond. But package?
Oh, Jaime, though, under the turret takes 2 hits. That's going to be more of a trade-off there, but I just love how Jaime was trying to block off his escape.
Yeah, I think Jaime was looking for probably a side lane roam with this package, pero nobody from his team was in a position to follow up if he did go for a package. So he just used it mid lane to start a trade-off with the Galio. Unfortunately, he did reach tower range and he got taunted, took 2 tower shots, and unfortunately lost the trade. He will be regenning that health up.
Oh, engage. That's going to be a stun. No, it will Marky be flashing away. And Shanna is just taking some hits against Marky.
Can they go for more though?
Oh, that's actually a favorable trade coming from BRE.
Yeah, and you know what enabled that trade, Vulcan? Whenever Jinx uses her zap, it forces her to stand in place for 1 second. And that was the window that Shanna needed to close the gap on this Alistar. And Marky needs to be very careful right there. He burned his flash. just because he tried to possibly get a last hit or poke down with Zap, so he needs to be extra careful.
Ooh, what's this? Some action on the Raptors side. Get engaged. XX begins to stun onto Yom. Locks scoops down with the ultimatum and Shala engages. There's no pulverize just yet. There it is. 2-man knockoff. And I don't think for BRE they will re-engage. Oh, Shala goes in for the flash stun. Connects onto Coops, giving Jaime the kill.
Can he get more though? He does have red buff, but I think with the rest of the members of TME roaming up, that will just be one kill. And man, that was so much aggression and so much proactivity from BRE. Coops, I think, held on to his flash for a bit too long. Now, Ardai is in a bunch of trouble.
He's still trying to get away. Yes, he does not get knocked by the Howling Gale. The jumper is just a bit too slow.
Yeah, I mean, Janna does have disengage, but what she does not have is hard CC to lock you down. Not enough CC to keep the Caitlyn from running away, but if he did get caught, he did still have both his summoners up, so I think Ardai was just fine there.
Well, man, we're seeing a lot of actions happening on the map. We're seeing some trade-offs, but in the end, BRE, they're the ones getting the kills out of it. So let's look at the gold lead Cheesto. We're not seeing that much of a huge lead, just sitting at 2,000 for now. The timer right now is nearing the 30-minute mark, everyone. And the Drake, right, is not yet being taken away. But the question is, why isn't it being taken away? That's the Infernal Drake. Flash Ton connects, a compilation in the mid lane. Looks like everyone piled up against Jaime.
Yeah, great punish there by TME. Alam nila na walang cleanse si Jaime, and the chain CC as well. Flash taunt into the twisted advance. Kahit may flash pa yung Corki na yan, kahit may Valkyrie ka, hindi ka makakatakas to all that CC. So Jaime does go down. Great trade kill by TME. Pero going back to your point, Vulcan, you mentioned that BRE had a gold lead. The primary reason of why they had a gold lead is because their champions are just favored in the early game. Having a deficit like that is all planned by TME because in their pick and ban phase, they opted to have losing lanes. They banked on surviving the laning phase and then just moving on to the teamfight areas of the game where they could have their lineup shine. So I don't think TME are pressured by this minor lead at all.
Definitely, because we're seeing JLC finishing up that Frozen Heart. Make for the time next. He's really surviving all of Lando's damage despite him trying to chomp him down. But that can change once he gets that Black Cleaver. We'll wait out for that. Maybe by that time, Lando can do what he loves best. Split push the lanes, do the side lanes there. But he has to respect what? Yom, that Gallius level 6 is something that you need to watch out for. The ultimate itself will just ring bells for you.
Yeah, you know, despite both these mid laners having tools to impact side lanes, Corki of course has his package, Gallium, available yung ultimate niya to just jump in and knock people up. We haven't seen them really use them to impact their side lane. Most of the action has been around the mid lane and the jungle area around that, so I'm still really waiting for either team to make a move towards the side lane where we can see their mid laners really just help them out.
What I want to see is the fact that when a team fight does happen, how can BRE try to fight back? Because obviously we're seeing TME have the superior CC, hard CC and engages, but for BRE, what kind of disengage do they have? It's very minimal.
I mean, they don't have a choice. They really need to go all in for a fight if they choose to go. Or maybe they could sacrifice the Alistar like we normally see, Vulcan. Sacrificial cow, as dubbed by some people. Pero you mentioned team fights. How can BRE come on top? Like we mentioned, TME's lineup relies heavily on Marky's Jinx here. He's the sole damage threat. I mean, Galio, yeah, he's gonna build a bit of AP, but is Galio really your main damager? It's gonna be the Jinx. There's no argument right there. So unless BRE can find a way to punch through all of these shields, all of these tanks in front of the Jinx, I don't think they can come out on top in a full-on 5v5 fight.
Well, at least when the Galio does have extra bit of AP, we can see that he may go for the Roa. He can at least do the wave clears decently. And because it's a Galio, I feel like Jaime was really free to itemize straight towards the Trinity Force. He has no danger at all. He has the package, he has the Valkyrie. So for Coops to try and gank the mid lane, it's going to be hard, but TME will engage with the prison, forcing out Jaime's flash.
It's not just his flash, it is his cleanse as well. And I want to mention Lando still does not have his teleport up, so 5 men strong. If TME secure this Infernal Drake. It will help their late game. I don't think BRE are interested in challenging this.
It's very difficult when you're seeing 4 Titans securing that objective and protecting Marky. Looks like a teleport will be used. DLC will be there to defend his lane.
Yeah, and mukhang kahit nakuha ng TME, even if they invested 5 members onto the Infernal Drake, walang trade-off na nakuha yung BRE Rage Esports. They weren't able to take the towers, which I really think is key for their team comp here, because in order for Lando to act as the split pusher, they need to open up the map. How do you open up the map, Vulcan? You take down towers, but we haven't seen any aggressive move to go for a tower. If there was a time for BRE to make one, now would be the time, because they are hitting their power spikes. Trinity Force onto the Corki, Black Cleaver onto the Gnar. They need to start taking towers and begin splitting up the members of TME, because if they keep allowing them to group up, it could be disastrous for them the longer this game goes.
I mean, obviously, so tingin mo, look at the Maokai, Sejuani, sarap ng Jinx, and there's the Janna, there's the support for the knockup and the heal in the Monsoon. Mark is gonna have so much layers of protection, and for BRE to try and penetrate it, it's going to be difficult. Let's say, okay, si XXP, Camille, pwede siya magpasok with the ultimatum, pero after that, Monsoon immediately counters and cancels the ult.
Yeah, gusto ko yung sinabi mo rin na ang daming hang shield, ang daming magbabantay dito kay Mark. Ang dami niyang tropa na pwede niyang tawagin just in case i-try siyang i-bully ng BRE Rage Esports. But yeah, the thing that BRE Rage Esports can do here to split up the members of TME is with split push. They have the Corki, they have the Gnar, but they need towers. They need to take down towers. It's already 18 minutes into the game. Meron kayong mga lamang, wala pa kayong nakuhang tower. You're doing something wrong.
But we're also seeing that going into the 80-minute game, the next Drake is Infernal. TME has the first Infernal Drake, and if this keeps up, TME can keep delaying the game, and in the end, they're gonna win, because if they ever do take down the second Infernal Drake, it's theirs. Marky is gonna have so much damage, and not just Marky, the Galio too, because we're seeing Yom getting that Roa, building up some AP. That's gonna help him more deal at least extra bit of damage.
Yeah, nakakatakot yun, Vulcan. Dalawang Infernal Drake stack onto a Maokai. That's incredibly scary to deal with. But yeah, gaya nga na sinabi mo, it will help the late game win condition that TME has. And so far, they look poised to reach that point of the game. If BRE don't accelerate the pace of this and don't act with their power spikes, they might just lose out in the long run. But this is the right thing to do. Lando is trying to take down the top lane tower so he can open up the lane. Will he ignore JLC? Mukhang hindi.
He can, because that's a Maokai. He won't survive the turret hits at all. And as of now, wala pang first turret, guys. So the race right now is, if you get that first turret solo gold, that's gonna be a lot of bonus for you. And Lando finally having the Black Cleaver, doing some extra damage with the armor shred.
He isn't landing the boomerangs though, which is kind of unfortunate, because that's really the main poking tool that Gnar has. It will slow down JLC, shred some of his armor, but it's only landing onto the minions. So
It's more on the setup really requires the boomerang.
yeah, it really relies a lot on that now. Like we mentioned, BRE, they need to start taking towers. You can't let the game keep going this slow, because
I wonder how the viewers are feeling right now, seeing this game extend until 90 minutes and 50 seconds into the game. 2-1 lang yung kill score, tapos wala pang turrets. This game, I think can extend until 45 minutes. Who knows?
you want it to go that long, Vulcan?
Yay!
Yeah, I mean, more time for you, but now TME have made a move
Come on,
here.
when the game gets extended, let's say, to the 45 minutes, doesn't that make things interesting in a way that we might see 3 Infernal Drakes, we might see 2 Barons? What happens when the game gets extended, guys? Yung thrill of the hunt natin. Yan ang abangan ng mga viewers.
Yeah, okay, abangan nga nila yun, pero mukhang may gagawin muna yung TME dito. They are actually gonna be the ones.
There's the action, but what's the effect? Here comes the entrance for the engage here. Denies the first turret for now.
Ang daming meat shields sa harap ni Marky. Gaya ng sinabi mo earlier.
Meat shield.
Yes, XDXP on Camille can dive onto the Jinx, pero ang daming haharang sa'yo eh. Ang daming mag-deny sa'yo na pasukin yung Jinx na yan. And TME there, they rotated multiple members to the top lane. Trinay nilang i-brute force yung tower, pero nakapag-respond yung BRE. Now, let's see. Sino try ang makakuha ng first tower? It's already 21 minutes into the game. Somebody please, just take a tower.
Isn't meat carne in Tagalog? Carne, right?
Yes?
So
Yes.
There. So meat shield, what's that in Tagalog, Chisto?
I don't know what shield is. Pangsangga. It sounds very wrong, Volcan.
Carne sangga?
It's a very rough translation.
But in the end,
It's a
though,
very
I think you got your wish, Chisto, because the first turret has been secured by Jaime in the mid lane with the Corki.
Yeah, tama yung ginawa mo, Jaime. Pagpatuloy mo yan. Pero yun nga, mukhang may susunod pang tower dito. And ito yung kailangan gawin ng Barca X-Ray Esports. They need to begin
That's turret number
towers.
2.
That's already 2, Volcan. Dire-diretso na yata.
Medyo na-snowball yung effect yung mga turrets, no? Like, one gets taken down, the next one is not gonna last that long.
This one will last long, though. Medyo, medyo matino pa to eh.
At least they did the lane swap. But when it comes to sustaining the lane, yeah, there's nothing. There's no way to say it. Other way to say it. That turret's not gonna last that short.
That's short?
Okay, it's gonna last long because si JOC may teleport.
Nangangalawang na yung tower. Malapit na siyang bumagsak.
Here comes Rocks. What's gonna do though? Just looking
Forward siya.
Look forward.
Oo, tulad ng magandang support. Di ka tulad mo, Volcan, pa naglalaro tayo.
Oh my God. Wow.
I always criticize you for your vision score. Maybe by watching TME, you can learn a thing or two. And maybe lumalampas na ng 10 yung vision score mo pag umabot na ng 20 minutes.
For me, the higher the vision score means the higher, more gold I use there. So, sayang naman pera. Pero for...
Trinkets are free, Volcan.
No, it's not. It comes with
Trinkets
a price.
are
Time
free.
is money right now, but for TME, his teleport will come through. Again, the meat shields are covering the Infernal Drake, and that's going to be a very red flag. That's the second Drake. And for JLC, he's on the scene there. And same with Yum, knocks up Shanna, but leaving behind Ardai to free hit. He's free to hit, but look at the members of TME clumped up together. JLC again for the re-engage. Marky is protecting so much damage here. And for TME, they take down the Infernal and taking down 3 members of BRE.
Yeah, I don't think na tama yung decision ng BRE dun to force a 5v5 fight versus a team fighting comp. And with 3 members down, can TME go for a Baron? They are. No, I think they're gonna settle for the mid lane tower. Pero yun nga, nakakatakot yun. Marky with his crits, he already has Runon's Hurricane and Infinity Edge. And the interaction with that is, if the rockets crit and it hits multiple members, multiple instances of damage yung lumalabas from the Jigs. And since everyone from BRE was clumped up, look at this, look at this. You really shouldn't be forcing a 5v5 fight versus a team fighting up. Even if XDXB dives the backline, okay, na-hextech ultimatum ko yung Jigs, pero mag-flash out kagad ako. Asan yung lockdown dyan? And look at this, JLC, no fear. He's so tanky, knocks everyone back. And look at the crits of Marky.
If you look at the clash itself, both teams, they know what to do. They know who to prioritize. We saw JLC focusing onto Ardai, but then we also saw for BRE, they're focusing onto Marky. But this because of the shield, the heal, and the shielding, and the protection that TME has for their ADC, it is very, very difficult for BRE to really take down Marky.
To be fair, Vulcan, despite TME having all the protection for Marky, I really don't think he was under any threat in that fight. Even if the Camille gets on him, the moment you flash out of your own Hextech ultimatum, it cancels out. It isn't the Jarvan ult.
But I just also love how for Ardai's case, he was able to flash out instantly. Reactive flash does not get locked down by the Glacial Prison.
He was zoned out of the entire fight though.
And that was the job for Yom to do as a Galio.
Yeah, which the superior execution as well, and just the superior picks from TME. This is a team fighting comp. It's near impossible for BRE to team fight versus what is a Maokai, Sejuani, and Chana. And basically the entire comp of TME. I can't stress enough. It's incredibly
so
difficult.
Yes.
Unless you get a substantial lead, which they could have gotten in the early phases of the game. They had pushing lanes. They had all the advantages to get ahead in this matchup. They just did not act on it. Now, Jaime
cleanses out of it, burns that summoner, but at least he's not dead. But the Baron buff is live right now, guys, and things are looking pretty bad for BRE because team fight-wise should be out of the question.
Yeah, you know why things are looking bad? Like I mentioned, they had all the tools to get ahead. They had pushing lanes. They had a jungler that could easily duel the Sejuani 1v1 in the enemy jungle. They just did not act on it. They played the early game very passively. They allowed TME to survive the laning phase. And now that we've transitioned into this mid-game point, TME's members are way, too tanky, way too difficult to deal with.
Look at that. Frozen Heart. An Omen. So, and looking at the comp of BRE, mostly relies a lot on crits. So, what a worthy item. What a worth item. So, that's a lot of damage reduced from JLC's Omen.
Yeah, like I mentioned, it's incredibly difficult at this stage. You play too passively, you let your opponent scale, you hesitate. This is the consequence. This is the effect of how you played early game. We're seeing right now how difficult. I mean, look at that. JLC isn't afraid to trade with Nar. This isn't normal.
But it's still the fact that Lando is doing quite a bit of damage because he does have the cleaver. But look at the Eagles right now. Oh,
They're nested.
It's pitch black. Uh-oh.
Bye-bye.
No, base check to a 5-man squad. So the Eagles get them by surprise. Shanna forced to flash away, uses the blast cone, gets the safety. No one died for now, but a lot of resources were burned. But Jaime chunks down rocks.
That is one member that isn't tanky. And
Surprise, surprise.
actually, Jaime, I think that was more of a bully move onto the Janna. Probably the only member he can go for a one-shot.
Biglang nawala yung Janna.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Gets
Trinity
popped.
Force Infinity Edge Corki.
And a rapid fire cannon.
Yeah,
So,
and this is the point of the game where, yeah, they do have power spikes, but the enemy team have enough resistances. They have enough tools to survive your burst. Even if they get that pick-off onto the Janna, asan yung objective na makukuha nila? Wala.
Yeah, but at least they were able to take down for 3 turrets. But I'm really scared for that 2 Infernal Drake stack. It's quite alarming because we're seeing Yum right now stacking up AP. And that's going to be a lot of AP when it comes to the late game because who knows, we might see another Infernal Drake, but for now guys, 50 seconds left on the timer for the Ocean Drake. We will see that next. Who knows?
I mean, this was the similar build path that Yom went for in the first game. He also had Rod of Ages and Leandri's Torment. I think picking up something like a Randuin's Omen wouldn't be surprising here. He did base, picked up a Warden's Mail, see? He might be picking up the Randuin's Omen to deal with, like you mentioned, the crit damage that BRE will rely on. We saw it in effect
From Rocks.
from Rocks, yeah. Feels bad as a support man. I'm the only guy building squishy item. I get one shot by the enemy mid laner.
And it's actually a good sign that for BRE, they know who the squishy targets are, but for Yom, he's really respecting the damage from Kogi. Despite having a lot of HP in the Tabi and being a Galio, he will still build for the Omen just to really burn out BRE's resources. I mean, if you burn out all your skills, your burst damages, and you have nothing else to dish out, that's going to be the time for the Eagles to re-engage and clean up the fight. We did see that in where? The Infernal Drake. We saw that again in the blue side of BRE.
Yeah, but things have kind of slowed down here a bit. I think TME are just waiting for clear objectives. But speaking of clear objectives, another Drake.
And they're not scared. They know the 3 members are there. And Yum goes in for a 3-man toss. There's the collapse and the knock-up for Shadow to try and stop the bleeding. But Marky takes down XP. And without any more layers of safety, that's going to be a cleanup crew.
Yeah, I don't think Lando can survive here for long. You are a dead Nar. Triple kill as well for Marky. Why are you inting? Okay. That was very, very questionable. I apologize for that, but that looked very, very
Meanwhile, before we go, we are experiencing some technical difficulties, and yes, that was actually a great engage from the Infernal Drake, from the Ocean Drake for Team Manila Eagles. They knew their conditions, yes.
Yes.
But it's also the fact that when it comes to XXP getting picked up, and the Gallia, the Collision Prison was there, it's really showing how for TME, they really have that powerful team fight comp. Yes, but for BRE, what can they do and try and win back to this game?
They need to catch out Marky. They need to catch the Jinx or possibly the Janna because
Easier said than done.
Easier said than done, definitely, but doable until attempt. You can't say impossible until you really attempt it, Vulcan. You can't say I can't fly over this thing until I actually try flying over this thing. But yeah, they need to either burst down the squishy targets or they'll just lose out in a full-on 5v5.
Because when it comes to picking off Marky, the only damage dealing champion for Team Manila Eagles, it's difficult because we can only imagine XXB to be the ones to re-engage to engage out the Marky, but it's the Janna that's gonna really block him off. But let's check out the replay to see what's happened over that Drake contest.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you really don't want to be running into TME because it's incredibly difficult to pull on a 5v5 fight. Yomi hides in the bush and gets a 3-man taunt, which starts everything off. All the escapes are already burned by BRE, and there's just free reign on JLC to pick his target and lock them down. Whoever he picks here will just forever be locked down. And again,
that hurts. You saw Lando trying to engage with his Mechanar form, gets immediately knocked back, denying the engage, and without any more, let's say, close to escape, he was a sitting duck for Marky to pick up that easy triple kill.
yeah, like you mentioned, that was an incredibly easy triple kill for Marky. And at the back end of that, TME I think could practically take anything off of the map after that fight, but we do have a delay, unfortunately, so we'll just have to wait and see as we load back into the Rift.
When it comes to the fact that Shana tried to stop the bleeding with a 3-man knockoff with the Alistar, it's just goes to show that when the Maokai and the Kalyo goes into the heart of the team fight, you saw that BRE were immediately scrambled.
Yeah, I mean,
Meanwhile, for TME, they were still grouped up together, a still solid wall for Market to free hit.
yeah, and I think that was really one of the keys. And like I mentioned, TME can take anything off of the map at this point. Baron being started by Team Manila Eagles.
And without any contest, without any vision, I don't think for TME, they're not scared to take this Baron buff.
Yeah, I really don't think there's anything that could steal that away. And now they're in an incredibly controlling position. Despite BRE still having the gold lead, I don't think that will be relevant for them at all at this stage of the game.
And we're nearing the 31-minute mark. Looks like this Ocean Drake might be the last Drake. We might not see another Infernal Drake, sadly. But it's the fact that I think 2 Infernal Drakes, it's more than enough for the TME to get so much value out of it.
Yeah, like you mentioned, I think at this point of the game, it's just incredibly difficult for BRE to get a fight in because, yeah, if TME, Marky, or Rox gets caught out, maybe that's a window, but I don't think they're gonna let that happen.
But looking at the itemization again, Frozen Heart, Adaptive Helmet, and an Omen. So, really, GLC will not back down. Really, getting all the items to just counter the champions of BRE. Corky's magic damage, Caitlyn's strong crits, those are gone out the window. And they can't do anything if they cannot kill or pick off Marky.
Yeah, I don't think Lando wants to take this fight. But speaking of things that have gone out of the window, I really want to talk about the Camille jungle here. He did have tools. XDXB had tools to get advantage in the early game. Unfortunately, at this point, I think the Camille is practically a non-factor.
Oh god.
TME can just go for anything.
They're going for a dive and they're not flinching at all. There's the redemption to try and reset the fight. But look at Marky and Rox. They're just at the back line, just chunking down Shana. That's going to be the double kill right there. GLC re-engages with a knock up there. And Monsoon and the heal will get him that Quadra. Making a penta perhaps. He's going deep inside the base. And the Rocket will just deal a bit of damage. That's going to be Ardai living to tell the horror story he saw in the bot lane.
You know, Vulcan, I'm praying that TME goes for this and goes and give Marky the pentakill. But with that quadra kill, no members left to defend. They're free to push with the Baron buff into BRE's base.
And without any members to defend, that's good. Those are actually hefty death timers. And really, Ardai, the only one remaining, cannot defend the base. This is going to be Team Manila Eagles taking away match 1 with a 2-0.
Yeah, clean 2-0 win for Team Manila Eagles. Just at the end, like I mentioned, they played through win conditions, survived the lane, win all the 5v5 fights with their superior team fighting comp, and just like that, TME wins game 2.
Actually, it was actually well played for BRE from the start. The fact that they were trying to push out the lanes, they knew what to do in the early phases. But for TME, they know that they have superior team fights, and they, with that much confidence, we saw them take away the 2 Infernal Drakes. And the fact that when it came to the really late game, they all had the items they needed.
I think for the most part, BRE just played a bit too passively, where they did have leads in certain places, they had winning lanes in their draft, they just didn't utilize the tools they had to really get ahead, and they waited too long. I mean, letting an enemy team that needs to scale lane for 20 minutes, that'll just spell a disaster for a team, and just like that, it did spell disaster for BRE. Unfortunately for them, they fall to TME.
But still, it's actually not yet over for BRE or any of the teams just for now, because we still have one more week left after this week for the group stages before we move on to the playoff stage. But we want to take this time to congratulate Team Manila Eagles for that match 1 2-0. That gives them immediately 3 points. So things looking good for now. They're bouncing back from that rough start in the split.
Yeah, we mentioned that the defending champions have not looked as solid during the start of the split, but week 6 already, it looks like everything is really starting to come together for them, where their games are getting even better. They're playing their team comp win conditions well, and it's showing. I mean, picking up a clean 2-0 like I mentioned.
I think for the results for week 6, moving on to the last week, week 7, things will look very... It's not yet set in stone actually, because week 7 can really change everything. You may have a good start for now. Your rankings would be, let's say, going out for just a bit, but you cannot rest till the group stages are over, because the fact that we are running a best of 3 series, we saw right now a lot of changes happening to the standings. A quick turn, a quick switch, a quick turnaround in terms of degree. I mean, in terms of standings, we're seeing TME rising up now.
Yeah, I think this is a championship mentality kicking in for Team Manila Eagles. I think one of them mentioned in one of their player interviews that hindi nila hahayaan na dun lang sila sa baba. Talagang hahabulin talaga nila yung mga teams na umaangat na rin sa standings. But I think we're gonna get to hear their thoughts on that with the most valuable player of the game from Team Manila Eagles. Take it away, Arctic.
Maraming salamat, Chisto. At kasama ko nga ngayon, MVP for this game. At gaya nga ng sinasabi namin, making his debut in the PGS. Walang iba kundi si TME Yom. Congratulations, man. Well played, ah. And of course, I guess, ang pinakaunang question ko sa'yo is, syempre, gaya nga ng sabi namin kanina, debut mo to sa PGS, tapos ang ganda pa ng pasok mo kasi this series nakapag 2-0 kayo. So, how do you feel right now?
Masaya po kasi kahit na yung mga dati kong role iba, na kahit pa paano nanalo pa rin kami dahil na mid ako.
So aside from mid, like ano ba yung mga nalaro mong role before?
I main kasi jungle eh.
Okay. And in all fairness, yung Galio mo talagang ang laki ng impact sa parehong game 1 and game 2 kahit jungler main ka. So I guess the next question is, since hindi mo talaga main role ang mid, anong preparation yung ginawa niyo ng Team Manila Eagles, since ang daming nagsasabi na big shoes to fill kasi wala si Trevor ngayon. So, filling in for him, anong preparation ginawa niyo?
Araw-araw po, practice kami. Po kami, practice kami ng Korea server. Tapos, inaano lang po yung, basta araw-araw lang po practice.
And in over, sobrang nag-pay off yung practice niyo. Napakaganda ng performance. Di lang ng buong team, pero sobrang deserving ka talaga na maging MVP para sa game na to. So, I guess last question before tayo mag-proceed sa break going into match 2. May message ka ba sa mga fans ng TME? Any friends you want to greet, or family, or inspirasyon? Baka meron man.
Meron. Ay, yung ko sa misis ko. Hello. Jenny. Tapos kay boss, tsaka kay tito-tita. Salamat.
So there you have it. Once again, congrats, Yom. Really happy to see you in the PGS. So, guys, that was match 1 for now. Congrats ulit. That was Team Manila Eagles taking it 2-0 against Bar 6 Rage Esports. When we do come back though, Imperium Pro Team will be taking the stage against TNC, one of the rising teams in the PGS right now. Sino kaya magwawagi sa match na yun? Malalaman natin yan in just a bit. On behalf of Chisto and Vulcan, ako si Arctic at your Sirs fam. This has been the 2018 Bacchus Pro Gaming Series Spring Split. Kita-kits tayo for match 2.
That's the second drink, and for JLC, he's on the scene there, and same with Yum, knocks up Shana, but leaving behind Ardai to free hit. He's free to hit, but look at the members of TME clumped up together. JLC again for the re-engage. Marky is protecting so much damage here, and for TME, they take down the Inferno and taking down 3 members of BRE. And this goes in for 3-man taunt. There's the collapse and the knockup for Shana to try and stop the bleeding, but Marky takes down XP, and without any more layers of safety, that's gonna be a cleanup crew.
Yeah, I don't think Lando can survive here for long. You are a dead nard. Triple kill as well for Marky.
They're going for that, and they're not flinching at all. There's the redemption to try and reset the fight. But look at Marky and Rox. They're just at the back line, just chunking down Shana. That's gonna be the double kill right there. JLC re-engages with a knock up there, and Monsoon and the heal will get him that quadra. Making a penta, perhaps he's going deep inside the base, and the rocket cannot defend the base. This is going to be Team Manila Eagles taking away match 1. with a 2-0.
Yeah, clean 2-0 win for Team Manila Eagles. Just at the end, like I mentioned, they played through win conditions, survived the lane, win all the 5v